Princess stood in the grand chamber of the Galactic Council and tried not to show her fear. Around her, representatives from 40 different species watched from their floating platforms. Some had multiple eyes. Others had tentacles instead of arms. A few breathed methane through masks, but all of them looked at her with the same expression: pity. Her father, Emperor of the Empire, stood beside her. His blue skin had turned darker with anger. The ridges along his head were raised high. He was not happy about this meeting. "This is an outrage," her father said. His voice echoed through the chamber. "The Empire does not surrender. We do not beg for mercy." Council Speaker, a being that looked like a tree made of crystal, made a soft chiming sound. "Emperor, no one speaks of surrender. We speak of peace. There is a difference." Had studied the war reports. 3 cycles of fighting along the border between space and human territory. Her people had lost 17 colonies. 30,000 soldiers were dead. The humans had asked for peace talks 5 times. Her father had refused every time. "The humans are weak," her father insisted. "They barely have an empire, just one planet and a few dozen colonies. We have hundreds of worlds, thousands of ships." "Then why are you losing?" The question came from Ambassador of the Confederation, the reptilian being leaned forward on his platform. "Emperor, I mean no disrespect, but the numbers do not lie. Every battle costs you more than it costs them." Knew this was true. The humans fought differently than any species she had studied. They did not charge forward in glorious waves. They did not seek honor in combat. They just won. Quietly, efficiently, completely. "The Galactic Council proposes an ancient solution," Speaker continued. "A marriage between your houses, a bond that will ensure peace." "The humans have no royal house," her father said. "No nobility, no bloodlines of worth." "They have volunteers," replied. "Several humans have offered to marry into your family to end this conflict. You may choose from among them." Felt her heart sink. She had always known she would marry for political reasons. That was the duty of a princess. But she had hoped to marry another, someone who understood her culture, her people, her world. "Show me these volunteers," her father demanded. A holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber. 5 humans stood there, projected in perfect detail. 3 men, 2 women. All wore military uniforms. All stood straight and calm. Her father dismissed the first 4 with barely a glance. Too young, too old, wrong rank, wrong family connections, even though humans claimed not to care about such things. Then the image showed the 5th volunteer, Captain Daniel Hayes. Human males all looked similar to. Flat faces, small eyes, strange hair on their heads, but something about this one made her look closer. He was not large for a human, not decorated with medals like some of the others. His uniform was simple. His expression was calm. He looked directly at the camera with eyes that were a deep brown color. "This one," her father said, "he is a captain. That shows some status. And his record says he commanded a ship in the border conflicts. He knows war." "He also volunteered first," added, "before any others. He wrote that he understood the cost of war and wished to spare both peoples from further suffering." Her father made a dismissive sound. "Soft words, but acceptable. Princess will marry this human. The treaty will be signed." Wanted to protest, to argue, to demand more time. But she was a princess of the empire. She had duties, responsibilities, and thousands of her people were dying in a war that no one seemed able to win. "Yes, father," she said quietly. The wedding took place 3 weeks later on neutral ground, a space station owned by the Galactic Council. The ceremony blended and human traditions in ways that satisfied no one and confused everyone. Wore the traditional silver robes of royal marriage. They covered her from neck to feet, worked with crystals that showed her family lineage. Daniel Hayes wore his military uniform, dark blue with silver trim. No decorations except a single ribbon that marked him as a combat veteran. They met for the first time just hours before the ceremony, stood in a private chamber with her attendants. The door opened. The human walked in. He was taller than her, which most humans were. His species had evolved on a heavy gravity world. They were built stronger, denser, more durable. His skin was a light tan color. His hair was dark brown and cut very short. Those brown eyes looked at her with something she did not expect: kindness. "Princess," he said. His voice was deeper than voices, but not unpleasant. "I am honored to meet you. I know this is not the marriage you wanted. I will try to make it as easy as possible for you." She had prepared harsh words, angry speeches, but his quiet respect caught her off guard. "You volunteered," she said instead. "Why?" "I have seen war," Daniel replied simply. "I have seen what it does to people, to families, to worlds. If my marriage can stop that, then it is worth it. Even though you will be leaving your people, your world." He smiled slightly. "I am not leaving. You will come to Earth with me. The treaty requires that you live among humans so our peoples can learn to trust each other." Felt a chill run through her. Leave the Empire. Live on the human, that where the gravity could crush bones and the weather could kill. "I see your fear," Daniel said. "I understand, but I promise you this. I will keep you safe. I will treat you with respect. And I will never ask you to be anything other than who you are." Before she could respond, the attendants announced it was time. The ceremony began. Spoke the ancient vows. Daniel repeated them in badly accented that made several diplomats wince. Then he spoke human vows in his own language, repeated them, stumbling over the strange sounds. When it was done, they were married, bound by treaty and law and the hopes of millions who wanted the war to end. The reception was brief. Nobles congratulated her father on making peace. Human diplomats smiled and spoke of friendship. Other species watched carefully, wondering if this desperate solution would actually work. Found herself standing beside her new husband on a balcony overlooking the stars. Neither spoke for a long moment. "What is Earth like?" she finally asked. Daniel thought for a moment. "Beautiful, dangerous, alive in ways that other worlds are not. You will see tomorrow when we arrive." "Are all humans like you?" she asked. "So calm, so quiet." He laughed softly. It was a warm sound. "No, humans are all different. Some are loud, some are angry, some are gentle. You will meet many kinds when we reach home." Home, the word felt strange. She had only ever known one home, the palace on Prime, the crystal gardens where she walked as a child, the great libraries where she studied. "I know you are afraid," Daniel said quietly. "I would be too if our positions were reversed, but I want you to know something. You saved lives today, thousands of them, maybe millions. That takes courage." Looked at this human she had just married, this stranger from a species that terrified half the galaxy. He looked back at her with those calm brown eyes. "Why do they fear you?" she asked. "The other species, they warned me about humans, said you were dangerous." Daniel's expression did not change, but something flickered in his eyes. "They fear us because we remember, because we learn, because when we fight to end it." "That does not sound so terrible." "No," Daniel agreed, "but it should." Before could ask what he meant, the human diplomats arrived to escort them to the transport ship. It was time to leave, time to go to Earth, time to begin her new life as a human's wife. As the ship pulled away from the station, watched her father's vessel growing smaller in the viewport. She was leaving everything she knew, everything she loved, all to stop a war. She just hoped she had not made a terrible mistake. The first thing noticed about Earth was the blue, so much blue. Her had purple skies and red oceans. But Earth's oceans were blue. The sky was blue. Even the ice at the poles was white mixed with blue. The second thing she noticed was the gravity. As the transport ship descended through the atmosphere, she felt the pull increase. By the time they landed, she could barely stand. Her legs shook. Her breathing came hard. Daniel noticed immediately. He offered his arm for support. The gravity will get easier. Your body will adapt in a few weeks. Until then, I can help." Wanted to refuse, she was a princess. She did not need help walking, but her pride was not worth falling on her face. She took his arm. They landed at a place called Virginia. The transport pad was surrounded by green, trees, grass, plants everywhere. Had read that Earth was a jungle world, that life covered every surface. But reading about it and seeing it were different things. "So much green," she whispered. Daniel smiled. "Wait until you see the oceans, or the mountains, or the deserts. Earth has many different environments." A vehicle waited for them. Ground transportation. People used flying vehicles in cities, but Daniel explained that humans liked driving on roads, something about the journey being as important as the destination. They drove for an hour through countryside, stared out the window at farms and forests. Animals grazed in fields. Birds flew overhead. A deer bounded across the road, and Daniel had to brake hard to avoid hitting it. "Sorry," he said. "The wildlife here does not always respect traffic." "You have predators running free?" asked, alarmed. Daniel laughed. "That was a deer. They eat plants. The real predators mostly avoid humans now, mostly." That word, mostly, did not comfort her. They arrived at a small house in a town called Riverside. It was a simple structure made of wood and brick. A garden grew in the front yard. Flowers of every color bloomed there. "This is my parents' house," Daniel explained. "They wanted to meet you before we go to our own home." The door opened before they reached it. A human woman stood there, older than Daniel, with gray in her hair and lines around her eyes. She smiled widely. "Danny," the woman hugged Daniel hard. Then she turned to, "And you must be welcome to Earth, dear. Welcome to our family." Stood frozen. The woman had called her dear, had welcomed her like family, not like a political arrangement, not like a treaty obligation. "This is my mother, Helen," Daniel said gently, "and this is my father, Richard." Another human appeared, also older, also smiling. He shook his hand carefully. "We are so glad you are here. Daniel told us all about you." Inside, the house was warm and filled with strange smells. Helen had cooked food. Food, somehow. She had researched what people ate and tried to make it. "It probably tastes wrong," Helen said apologetically. "I had to guess at some of the spices, but I wanted you to feel at home." Tried the food. It did taste wrong, but the gesture made her throat tight. This woman, this human, had gone to so much trouble for someone she had never met. "It is very kind," managed to say. "Thank you." They ate together at a simple table. Richard asked about Prime. Helen wanted to know about art. Neither mentioned the war. Neither treated like an enemy or a prize. "What do you do?" finally asked. "I mean, what is your work?" "We are teachers," Helen said. "I teach young children. Richard teaches history at the high school." Stared. "You are not military, not government?" "No," Richard said, looking confused. "Why would we be?" "Because Daniel is a captain. I thought humans had military families, noble lines." Daniel shook his head. "Humans do not have nobility. Anyone can become anything. My parents chose to teach. I chose to join the military. My sister chose medicine." "Your sister is a doctor?" "Yes. Amy works with an aid organization. She goes to disaster zones and helps people. She is in the sector right now, helping with the refugee crisis there." Tried to process this. On Prime, the military families stayed in the military. The merchant families stayed in trade. The noble families ruled. That was how society worked. Stable, ordered, clear. "On Earth," Daniel explained, "people choose their own path. Some children of teachers become soldiers. Some children of soldiers become artists. We believe each person should find what they are good at." After the meal, Daniel took outside. The sun was setting, and the sky turned orange and pink and purple, colors had never seen in a sky before. I want to show you something, Daniel said. But I need to warn you first, it might be difficult. They walked through the town. People stared at. She was the first most of them had ever seen. But no one was rude. Many smiled. Some waved. A few children ran up to ask questions before their parents called them back. Daniel led her to a park at the center of town. In the middle of the park stood a wall made of black stone. Names covered the wall. Thousands of names. "This is our war memorial," Daniel said quietly. "Every town on Earth has one. This wall shows the people from Riverside who died in wars." Walked closer. The names went back centuries, hundreds of years of conflict, war after war after war. "Humans have always fought," Daniel continued. "We fought each other for thousands of years before we reached the stars. We fought over land, over resources, over ideas, over things that seem stupid now. Every family on Earth has lost someone to war." "Then why do you keep fighting?" "We do not," Daniel said. "Not anymore, not like we used to. We learned. We learned that war costs too much, takes too much, destroys too much. So now we try everything else first." "But you still have a military, still have weapons." "Yes," Daniel touched one of the names on the wall, "because we learned another lesson too. There are people in the galaxy who will hurt others if no one stops them, so we stay ready, we stay strong, but we never want to use that strength." Looked at the names. Mothers, fathers, children, friends, all lost to violence. "They have memorials too," she said quietly. "But we celebrate the glory of battle, the honor of dying for the Empire." "There is no glory in death," Daniel said. "No honor in taking a life. War is failure. It is the moment when talking stops and killing starts. Every name on this wall represents a failure to find peace." They stood in silence as the sun finished setting. The sky grew dark. Stars appeared overhead, recognized some of the constellations. Earth was not so far from space, really, just a few hundred light years. "How did your people become so strong?" she asked. "The reports say humans win almost every battle, but you have fewer ships, fewer soldiers, smaller territory." Daniel was quiet for a long moment. "Earth is a hard world," he finally said. "Harder than most. The gravity is high. The weather is violent. The wildlife is dangerous. Humans evolved to survive all of that. We are built for endurance, for adaptation, for persistence." Persistence. "We do not give up, ever. It is in our nature. When a human decides something must be done, we keep working at it until it happens. In war, that makes us hard to fight. We do not surrender. We do not stop. We just keep coming." Thought about the war reports, forces winning the first battles, then slowly losing ground, human ships always returning, human soldiers always regrouping, like water wearing away stone. "Is that why you volunteered to marry me?" she asked. "Because you are persistent about peace?" Daniel smiled. "Partly, but also because I meant what I said. I have seen enough war. I do not want to see more." They walked back to his parents' house as full dark settled over the town. Helen had prepared a room for. It was simple but comfortable. The bed was lower and firmer than beds, but Daniel had gotten cushions to help. "Tomorrow I will show you our home," Daniel said at the door. "It is about an hour from here, by the ocean. I think you will like it." Daniel said, "Your parents, they are kind. Why?" "Why would they not be?" We were at war. My people killed humans." Daniel's expression grew serious. "My parents taught me something when I was young. They said that people are not their governments, that someone born in an enemy nation is not automatically an enemy. They believe in judging individuals, not groups." "Do all humans think this way?" "No, some humans hate easily, hold grudges, see the world in us versus them, but most try to see people as people. We have had too many wars based on hate. We try to do better now." After Daniel left, lay in the strange bed in the strange room on the strange planet, she thought about the memorial, about the names, about Daniel's words. The celebrated warriors, honored battle, taught that military service was the highest calling, but Daniel spoke of war like a disease, something to be avoided and cured. She thought about his parents, teachers who welcomed an enemy princess like a daughter, about his sister, a doctor who helped strangers in faraway places, about Daniel himself, a soldier who volunteered to marry for peace. Through the window she could hear earth sounds, wind in trees, some kind of insect making rhythmic noises, a dog barking far away. Life everywhere, constant and overwhelming. She had married a human to stop a war, but lying there in the dark realized she knew nothing about humans, nothing real. All her education, all her studies had taught her facts and figures, ship classes and weapon ranges and territory maps. No one had taught her about memorial walls, about parents who chose teaching over war, about soldiers who hated fighting. Tomorrow she would see more of this world, this where humans lived and thrived, where they raised families and built towns and grew gardens. She was starting to wonder if perhaps they had misunderstood everything about humanity, and if they had, what else had they gotten wrong about this war 6 weeks past on Earth? His body slowly adapted to the heavy gravity. Walking became easier. Breathing came naturally. She could even climb the stairs to her and Daniel's bedroom without stopping halfway up. Their home sat on a cliff overlooking the ocean. Daniel had lived here before the war, before the marriage. It was a simple place with large windows that showed the water. Spent hours watching the waves. They never stopped moving, never rested, constant and patient and unstoppable. Like humans, she was beginning to understand. Daniel worked from home most days. He had meetings with military command through video systems. He helped train new officers. He consulted on defensive strategies, but he always made time to show more of Earth. They visited cities where millions of humans lived together, walked through forests that had stood for thousands of years, swam in the ocean, though needed a special suit because the salt water would hurt her skin. She met Daniel's friends, a woman named Lisa who commanded ships in orbit, a man named Peter who designed engines for human vessels, another woman, Karen, who wrote books about first contact protocols. All of them welcomed, treated her like a person, not a political symbol. "You are adjusting well," Daniel said one morning over breakfast. They sat on the deck watching seabirds dive for fish. "You smile more now." Realized it was true. The fear had faded. The strangeness had become familiar. She even enjoyed some human foods now, though the spices often burned her mouth. "I did not expect to be happy here," she admitted. "I thought I would hate Earth, hate humans, spend my days counting time until I could leave. But you do not. No, your world is beautiful. Your people are kind. I am starting to understand why you fight so hard to protect this place." Daniel reached across the table and took her hand. It was a human gesture she had learned, a way of showing care without words. His hand was warm and strong. "I am glad," he said simply. That afternoon, everything changed. Daniel was in his office talking to Admiral Lisa about training schedules, was in the garden, trying to grow some plants in Earth soil. The communication system made an urgent sound. Daniel's face went hard. "Repeat that." Walked inside. She could see the Admiral on the screen. The woman's expression was cold and focused. "Pirates," Lisa said. "Gang. They hit a civilian transport 3 hours ago. The ship was carrying children on a cultural exchange program." "How many children?" Daniel asked. His voice had changed. All the warmth was gone. 42, ages 5 to 15, multiple species. The pirates are demanding ransom." "What species?" Lisa checked her data pad. "Human, Tellarian, and children. The pirates do not care. They will start killing them if we do not pay." Felt her blood go cold. "Children, bobbies taken by criminals." "Where are they?" Daniel asked. "Space, near the border, technically outside our jurisdiction." I do not care about jurisdiction. Where exactly? Lisa sent coordinates to Daniel's display. He studied them for 3 seconds. I can be there in 6 hours. Assemble a team. Daniel, you are on leave. You just got married. We can send someone else. No, his voice was flat, final. Those are children, Lisa. I am going. The Admiral sighed. I knew you would say that. Team is already assembling. The transport leaves in 1 hour. Daniel stood and walked toward the bedroom, followed. What are you doing? Getting ready. He pulled a case from the closet. Inside was his military uniform, clean and pressed, waiting. You do not have to do this, said. You are not on active duty anymore. There are children in danger. Daniel began changing clothes. Human children, that makes it my business. But you could be hurt, killed. He looked at her. Those brown eyes were different now. Harder, colder. I know, but this is what humans do. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. Even children who are not human. Especially them. Children are innocent, all children, no matter what species, no matter where they come from. Watched him dress. The gentle man who held her hand over breakfast was gone. In his place stood a soldier, a warrior, someone capable of violence. I am scared, she admitted. Daniel's expression softened slightly. He touched her face gently. I will come back, I promise. How can you promise that? Because I have something to come back to now. The transport arrived 30 minutes later. Daniel kissed goodbye at the door. Then he was gone. Paced the house for hours. She tried to read, tried to watch videos, tried to work on her plants. Nothing helped. She kept imagining Daniel in danger, imagining him not coming back. Finally, she called Lisa. The Admiral agreed to let her monitor the operation from Earth Defense Headquarters. A car picked her up within minutes. The headquarters was underground, buried deep in stone where enemy weapons could not reach. Walked through hallways filled with humans in uniform, all moving with purpose, all focused on the mission. Lisa met her in the command center. Screens covered the walls showing ship positions, communication channels, and tactical data. Daniel's team is approaching the target now, Lisa said. The pirates have the children on a small station, old mining facility, mostly abandoned. How will he get them out? Watch. On the screen saw human ships moving into position. They were small, fast, nothing like the massive warships she had trained on, but they moved with perfect coordination, like parts of a single organism. Pirate vessel, this is Captain Daniel Hayes of Earth Defense. Daniel's voice came over the speakers. Release the children immediately. The pirate response was crude and insulting. They had 42 hostages. Earth had no authority in space. Pay the ransom or the killing starts. I am giving you one opportunity to surrender, Daniel replied. His voice was calm, patient. Release the children. No one needs to die today. More insults. The pirates laughed, said humans were weak, said they would kill a child every hour until the money arrived. Daniel said one word, understood. The human ships moved, had studied human tactics. She thought she understood how they fought, but watching it happen was different. The ships did not charge forward, did not fire massive barrages. They simply appeared where they needed to be, always in the right position, always one step ahead. The pirates fired, human ships dodged, returned fire with surgical precision. One pirate ship lost engines, another lost weapons, a third lost life support. Within 12 minutes, the pirate fleet was disabled, not destroyed, disabled. The humans had avoided killing anyone. Now comes the hard part, Lisa said quietly. On screen, Daniel and his team boarded the station. Watched through helmet cameras. They moved through corridors fast and silent. Every corner cleared, every room checked. Perfect teamwork born from endless practice. They found the children in a cargo bay. 42 scared faces, some crying, some too shocked to make sound. The pirates had them locked in cages like animals. The pirates surrendered the moment they saw human soldiers. No fight, no resistance. They just put down weapons and raised their hands. Saw why? The humans moved like machines, every action precise, every weapon ready. The pirates were violent criminals, hard people who lived by force, but even they recognized something more dangerous when they saw it. Daniel knelt by the cages. His voice was gentle again. "It is okay now. You are safe. We are taking you home." A girl, maybe 7 years old, looked at him with huge eyes. "Are you going to hurt us?" "No, little one. Never. We are here to help." The team got the children out, checked them for injuries, gave them water and food, wrapped them in blankets. The whole time, the pirates sat against the walls with their hands on their heads. Not one of them tried to run or fight. The transport back took 5 hours, waited at the landing pad. When the ship doors opened, she saw Daniel carrying 2 children, a human boy and a girl, both asleep in his arms, exhausted from fear. Other soldiers carried more children. Some could walk, others needed help. Medical teams rushed forward. Parents who had been waiting screamed with relief and joy. Daniel handed the children to doctors. Then he walked over slowly. His uniform was dirty. His face was tired, but he was alive. "You came back," said. "I promised." She hugged him, felt his arms wrap around her. He was shaking slightly. "Are you hurt?" "No, just tired, and angry that anyone would hurt children." They went home. Daniel showered for a long time. When he came out, his hands were still shaking, made him sit down, brought him tea the way he liked it. "You were different," she said. "During the operation, cold, hard, like a different person." "I was," Daniel admitted. "That is the part of me I try to keep buried, the part that knows how to hurt people, how to fight, how to kill if necessary." "But you did not kill anyone today." "No, because they surrendered. Because they were just criminals, not soldiers. If they had fought back, if they had tried to hurt those children, it would have been different." Thought about what she had seen. The perfect coordination, the flawless execution, the pirates' immediate surrender. "They were afraid of you," she said. "Not your weapons, not your ships, you, all of you." Daniel nodded slowly. "Humans have a reputation. People know we do not bluff, do not threaten. We warn once, maybe twice. Then we act. The pirates knew if they fought, we would win, and we would not be gentle about it. But you are gentle. You held those children so carefully, spoke to them so kindly." "Because they were children, innocents. Humans protect innocence. That is who we are. But we also punish those who hurt innocence, and we do not forgive that easily." Looked at this man she had married. This human who could be soft and hard, gentle and dangerous, kind and ruthless, all at the same time. "I think I am beginning to understand," she said quietly, "why people fear humans. It is not because you are violent. It is because you choose when to be violent, and when you choose, you are very good at it." Daniel met her eyes. "We fight so others do not have to. We protect because we can, and we try every day to be worthy of the trust people put in us." That night lay awake thinking. She had seen Daniel transform twice now, once from soldier to husband, once from husband to soldier, both times in seconds, both times completely. She thought about the pirates surrendering without a fight, about the memorial wall in Riverside, about Daniel's words, "War is failure." And she thought about something else, something that made her feel cold. Her father had started a war with these people. The Empire had attacked humans 5 times. 5 times Daniel and others like him had warned them, asked for peace, tried to avoid violence. What happened when humans stopped asking? What happened when they decided talking was done? She did not want to know, but she suspected she was about to find out. The message arrived 3 months after the pirate rescue. The Galactic Council was coming to Earth. They were bringing Emperor with them. A formal reconciliation, they called it. A chance to strengthen the peace. felt sick when she heard. She had not spoken to her father since the wedding, had not wanted to. She was building a new life on Earth, learning to be happy. The thought of seeing him again brought back all the old feelings: duty, obligation, fear. "You do not have to meet with him," Daniel said. They sat in their garden watching the sunset. "I can tell the council you are not ready." "He is my father. I have responsibilities." "You have already given enough. You married a stranger, left your home, moved to a world that could kill you. That is more than most people ever give." Touched his hand. "I know, but he needs to understand what happened, what he almost did. Maybe I can help him see." The council arrived in a massive ship. It landed at the main Earth Embassy complex in Geneva. Representatives from 30 species came, but only cared about one. Her father looked older. The ridges on his head had less color. His skin was paler. The war had cost him more than territory. "Daughter," he said when they met in a private room. His voice was formal, distant. "Father," she bowed in the traditional way, proper respect for an emperor. They sat across from each other at a plain table. No servants, no guards, just the two of them. "Earth is treating you well?" he asked. "Yes, very well." "And your husband?" "Daniel is kind, respectful. He has made my transition easy." Her father nodded but said nothing. The silence stretched. Finally, could not stand it anymore. "Why did you come, father? The treaty is signed. The war is over. You could have sent diplomats." "I came to see if my daughter was happy or imprisoned." "I am happy." He looked at her carefully. "You mean that? I can see it in your eyes. You have found contentment here." "I have. Earth is beautiful. Humans are complex but good. I am learning to understand them." "Are they as dangerous as the reports say?" Thought about Daniel rescuing children, about the pirates surrendering without a fight, about the memorial walls in every town. "More dangerous than you know," she said quietly, "but not in the way you think." Before her father could respond, the door opened. A council representative entered, not speaker this time, someone older, someone had only seen in historical records. Elder, the oldest living member of the Galactic Council. He looked like a massive spider made of silver metal. His many eyes glowed with soft blue light. "Forgive the interruption," said. His voice came from a translator device. "But I have waited 3 months for this moment. Emperor Princess, there is something you must know, something the Council has kept secret for 200 years." Her father stood. "If this is some attempt to humiliate the Empire further, I will not tolerate it." "Sit down, Emperor." His voice was not harsh but allowed no argument. "You need to hear this, both of you." They sat, activated a holographic display. Images appeared in the air, ships, worlds, battles. 200 years ago, began, humanity was new to galactic society. They had just invented faster than light travel, just started exploring beyond their solar system. They were naive, hopeful. They believed the galaxy would welcome them. The images showed human ships, primitive compared to modern designs, clumsy and slow, but recognizable. The Dominion was the greatest military power in the galaxy. They controlled 500 star systems, had conquered 60 species, turned them into slaves to serve masters. More images, alien beings in chains, working in mines, factories, farms. They themselves looked like massive crustaceans, armored shells covered in weapons. They saw human colony ships entering their territory, unarmed civilian vessels full of families. They destroyed 3 ships before humanity even knew there was a threat. Watched human ships explode, thousands of lives lost in seconds. The survivors sent a message to Earth, told them about the attack. Humanity sent an ambassador to the Galactic Council. His name was Cross. He was 26 years old, a diplomat who had never left Earth before that mission. The image showed a young human, brown hair, green eyes, dressed in simple clothes. He looked scared. Cross stood before this council and asked for help, begged us to intervene, to tell them to stop attacking civilian ships. We debated for weeks, and we did nothing. Why? Asked. Because they were powerful, because interfering would risk war, because it was easier to let humanity deal with their own problems. Translator made a sound like shame. We were cowards. The images changed. More human ships destroyed, colonies burned, civilians killed. Cross came back to the council. Again he asked for help. Again we refused. He returned a third time. By then, 15,000 humans were dead. He stood before us and gave a speech I will never forget. The display showed standing before the council. His face was different now, harder, older than his years. A recording played. His voice filled the room. I have asked you 3 times to help us. 3 times you have hidden behind politics and fear. I understand now that no help is coming, so I will tell you what happens next. Humanity will we will fight them alone, and we will win. Not because we want to, not because we are cruel, but because we have no choice. And when this is over, remember that you could have stopped this. You chose not to. Felt chills run down her spine. The young man's voice was calm, patient, but underneath was something else, a promise, a warning. Return to Earth, continued. Humanity mobilized its fleet, every ship, every soldier. They declared war on the Dominion. The images showed battles now, human ships against forces. The early fights went badly. Human vessels were destroyed by the dozens, but they kept coming, always more, always learning. The war lasted 18 months. In that time, humanity did something no species had ever done. They did not attack the worlds, did not target civilians, did not seek glory or conquest. They destroyed military targets, supply lines, communication networks, command centers. Surgical strikes, her father said quietly, precision warfare. Yes, they could not understand it. They were used to species that fought for honor, for glory, for revenge. Humans fought to win, nothing more, nothing less. The images showed bases burning, shipyards destroyed, fleets disabled, always the same pattern, fast attack, complete destruction of military capability, then withdrawal before reinforcements arrived. After 1 year, the military was broken. Their 500 systems were cut off from each other. Their enslaved species began to rebel. The Dominion was collapsing. And humanity destroyed them, her father said, took their empire for themselves. No, made that sound like shame again. That is what we expected, what we would have done, but humans did something that shocked the galaxy. The image showed Earth's fleet surrounding them. Thousands of human ships, enough firepower to turn the planet to ash. Cross, now Admiral Cross, sent one message to the Emperor: release every slave, free every conquered species, return to your own system and never expand again. Do this and your world survives. They refused, of course, said. They tried to, but by then the slaves had heard the human ultimatum. They rose up across the Dominion. They had to choose, fight the humans and the slaves or surrender. They surrendered. They did, and humanity kept their word. They did not occupy space, did not take territory, did not demand tribute. They just left, helped the freed species build their own governments, then went home. The display faded, as many eyes looked at Emperor. But Admiral Cross made one final speech to this council before he left. Would you like to hear it? No one spoke, played the recording. Cross stood before the council again. He looked different now, older, tired, harder, but his voice was still calm. We asked you for help 3 times. You refused 3 times. 15,000 humans died waiting for your intervention. Remember that number. Remember that you could have saved them with 1 word. We will never forget it. From this day forward, humanity will handle its own problems. We will protect our own people. And if anyone threatens us again, we will not ask you for help. We will not wait for permission. We will not give 3 chances. We will give 1 warning. Then we will act. I hope you never have to see what that looks like. The recording ended. The room was silent. His father had gone very pale. His hands shook slightly. That was 200 years ago, said. Since then, no major power has dared to attack humanity. Small conflicts, yes, border disputes, pirate raids, but never full war, never invasion, because we all remember the. But why did you not tell us this? Her father demanded. Why let the start a war with these people? We tried, we sent warnings, advised negotiation, but you were convinced of your superiority, your strength, your numbers. Eyes dimmed. We learned long ago that some leaders must discover truth through experience. The council arranged this marriage to save your empire, Emperor, because if the war had continued, humanity would have given you one warning, then they would have ended it. Thought about Daniel, about the pirate rescue, about how the criminals surrendered the moment they saw human soldiers. The pirates knew, she said quietly. They knew what would happen if they fought. That is why they gave up immediately. Yes, confirmed. Everyone knows, except species who are new to galactic politics, who think strength is measured in ships and soldiers, who do not understand that true danger comes from those who avoid fighting until they cannot avoid it anymore. Her father stood and walked to the window. Outside, Geneva sparkled in the night. Millions of lights, millions of humans living peaceful lives. I almost destroyed the empire, he said. His voice was hollow. My pride, my anger, my certainty that we were superior. I led my people into a war we could never win. Yes, said simply, you did. The council knew this marriage was not just for peace. It was to save us from our own stupidity. Correct. Emperor turned to look at. I sent you here thinking you would suffer, that you would endure for the good of our people. Instead, I sent you to the safest place in the galaxy, with people who would never harm you. They are good people, Father said. Strong but not cruel, dangerous but not evil. They fight only when they must, and when they must, they end it quickly. Like the war. Yes. Her father walked over and sat beside her. He took her hands in his. Forgive me, daughter. I was wrong about everything, about humans, about the war, about this marriage. I thought I was sacrificing you. Instead, I gave you a future. Squeezed his hands. There is nothing to forgive. You did what you thought was right. But I was not right. I was proud, foolish, blind. Then learn from it. Help me build bridges between our peoples. Show that strength can exist without conquest. That power can be used for protection instead of domination. Later that evening found Daniel standing on their balcony. He was watching the ocean. The waves rolled in endlessly, patient and relentless. My father knows now, she said, about what happened. Good, maybe it will help him understand. Daniel, can I ask you something about the 3 warnings? Is that still your policy? He was quiet for a long moment. Yes, we learned from the war. Learned that being too patient costs lives, too aggressive costs more. 3 warnings is the balance. 3 chances to choose peace. After that, we assume peace is not wanted. And if someone does not stop after 3 warnings, then we do what we must, quickly, completely, with everything we have. Looked at the man she had married, the gentle soul who held her at night, who laughed at bad jokes, who cried when watching sad movies, the same man who could transform into something cold and hard in seconds. I am glad we chose peace, she said. So am I. Daniel pulled her close. I really did not want to fight your people. I have fought enough, seen enough, done enough. I just want to live quietly with you and be happy. Can you do that, after everything you have seen, everything you have done? I can try. That is all any of us can do. Try to be better than our worst moments. Try to choose peace when war is easier. Try to build instead of destroy. They stood together watching the waves, the ocean that covered most of Earth, the water that wore down stone through patience and persistence. Finally understood why no empire dared challenge humanity. It was not their weapons, not their tactics, not even their strength. It was their restraint, because a species that could destroy but chose not to was more terrifying than one that destroyed without thinking. And the galaxy knew that humanity's patience had limits. 3 warnings, 3 chances. After that, the gentle giants became something else entirely. Something no one wanted to face. The formal treaty signing took place 1 week after Emperor learned the truth. Representatives from both governments gathered at the Earth Embassy. Cameras from across the galaxy watched. This was more than a peace treaty. This was the first real alliance between humanity and another major power. Stood beside Daniel in the Great Hall. She wore traditional robes, silver and blue, marking her as royalty. Daniel wore his dress uniform. Around them, diplomats from dozens of species waited. Her father entered last. He walked slowly, deliberately. When he reached the signing table, he looked at the human ambassador, Secretary Helen Martinez, a calm woman with gray hair and kind eyes. "Before I sign," Emperor said, "I must apologize. The Empire attacked your people without cause. We killed your soldiers, destroyed your colonies. We did this from pride and ignorance. I am sorry." Secretary Martinez nodded. "Emperor, we accept your apology. War happens when communication fails. Let us make sure it never fails between us again." They signed, first her father, then the secretary. The treaty was done. But then her father did something unexpected. He walked to Daniel and he bowed. A full formal bow, the kind an emperor gave only to equals. "Captain Hayes, you volunteered to marry my daughter when you did not have to. You have treated her with respect and kindness. You gave her a home and a life. For this, you have my gratitude and my friendship." Daniel bowed back. "Emperor is not a burden, she is a gift. I am honored to be her husband." Her father turned to, "Daughter, the treaty is signed. You have fulfilled your obligation. You may return home to Prime if you wish. Your rooms in the palace are ready. Your position as princess is restored." Looked at her father, then at Daniel, then at the life she had built over the past months. The garden where plants grew beside earth flowers, the ocean view from their balcony, the friends she had made, the happiness she had found. "Father, I am grateful for the offer, but Earth is my home now. Daniel is my family. I choose to stay." Her father smiled. It was sad but genuine. "I thought you would say that, and I am glad. You have found what I could never give you, freedom to choose your own path." After the ceremony, the real work began. Cultural exchange programs, scientists sharing research, engineers collaborating on new technologies. Students came to Earth universities. Human doctors went to hospitals. Became an ambassador, not officially. She held no government title, but she helped translate between the cultures, explained customs to humans, explained human thinking too. Daniel continued his military work but focused on training, teaching new officers about diplomacy, about restraint, about the 3 warnings and why they mattered. 6 months after the treaty, sister came to visit. Princess was younger, more traditional, more frightened of change. She stepped off the transport ship looking terrified. "The gravity," gasped. "How do you stand it?" "You get used to it," said, supporting her sister. "Come, let me show you my home." They spent 2 weeks together. At first, jumped at every sound. Earth was too loud, too wild, too alive. But slowly she relaxed. Daniel's parents welcomed her like family. His sister Amy, home from her aid work, took to see a hospital. "Your people help everyone," said one evening. They sat in the garden watching fireflies, little insects that glowed in the dark. "Not just humans, anyone who needs it." "Yes," confirmed. "That is what I learned. Humans believe helping others makes everyone stronger, including themselves." "But why? What do they gain?" "Peace, stability, friendship. They learned long ago that making enemies is expensive. Making friends is cheaper." Was quiet for a moment. "Our father was a fool to fight them. He was a product of our culture. We were taught that strength means conquest, that power means domination. Humans taught me that real strength is knowing when not to use your power. When left, she hugged tightly. I understand now why you stayed. Earth is not what I expected. Neither are humans. I will tell Father, will tell everyone. Life settled into a rhythm, and Daniel had been married for over a year now. The arrangement had become real. The political alliance had become love. Then the news came. A species called the Collective was expanding aggressively. They had attacked 3 neutral systems, enslaved the populations, declared that might made right. The Galactic Council called for a meeting, watched it on the news feeds. Species after species condemned the actions, but no one wanted to fight. They had a powerful military. Intervention would be costly. Then the human representative stood. Ambassador, a quiet man who rarely spoke. The Collective has violated galactic law, said. His voice was calm, even. They have enslaved innocent populations. The Council has 3 options. 1, we can intervene together as a unified force. 2, we can sanction them until they change their behavior. 3, we can do nothing and watch as more species suffer. And what does humanity suggest? Speaker asked. We suggest option 1, united action. But if the Council chooses option 3, if you decide to do nothing, then humanity will act alone. The chamber went silent. Every species representative understood what that meant. How would you act? A delegate asked. Look directly at the camera. We will send the Collective a message. We will ask them to release the enslaved populations and return to their own territory. We will give them time to comply. If they refuse, we will ask again. If they refuse twice more, we will give one final warning. After that, humanity will handle the situation. Felt cold. She had heard this before. 3 warnings, 3 chances. The representative laughed. Humans think they can threaten us. We are not afraid of your small empire. You have 1 world and a few colonies. We have hundreds. Smiled. It was not a happy smile. Then I hope you make better choices than the Dominion did. I would hate to see history repeat itself. The representative stopped laughing. Someone had briefed him. He knew the story. The Council debated for 3 days. Finally, they voted for option 2, sanctions, economic pressure, diplomatic isolation. They ignored the sanctions. They attacked another system, thousands more slaves. Humanity sent the first message. Release the slaves. Return to your territory. You have 1 week to comply. They sent back insults, threats, promises of war. 1 week later, humanity sent the second message. Same words, same timeline. They attacked a human trade ship, killed everyone aboard, sent the wreckage back as a message. And Daniel watched the news together. She saw his face change, saw the gentle man disappear, saw the soldier emerge. They are not going to stop, she said quietly. No, they are not. What will happen? Daniel was quiet for a long time. Humanity will send the third message. They will ignore it. Then the war will start. It will be short, brutal, complete. And when it is over, the galaxy will remember why empires do not challenge us. The third message went out. Release the slaves. Return to your territory. This is your final warning. They attacked human colonies. They thought humanity was bluffing, thought the warnings were just words. They were wrong. Watched from Earth as the human fleet mobilized. Not just military ships, everything. Research vessels converted to carry troops, cargo haulers modified with weapons. Even civilian ships volunteered to support logistics. Daniel left again. This time did not try to stop him. She understood now. This was who humans were. They asked nicely. They gave chances. But when those chances ran out, they became something else. The war lasted 5 weeks. Not months, not years, 5 weeks. The humans did not fight for territory, did not seek glory. They targeted every military installation, every shipyard, every command center, every weapons factory. They threw everything at them. Thousands of ships, millions of soldiers, It did not matter. Humans had studied war for thousands of years, had learned from every conflict, had refined their tactics through centuries of fighting each other. They moved like water, flowing around strong points, hitting weak points, never stopping, never slowing, never giving the time to adapt. After 3 weeks, the military was broken. After 4 weeks, their government collapsed. After 5 weeks, human ships surrounded the Admiral Lisa, commanding the fleet, sent one message: release every slave, now. They released them, all of them, millions of beings suddenly free. And then humanity did what they always did. They left, helped the freed slaves establish governments, provided aid and supplies, then went home. But before they left, Admiral gave a speech to the Galactic Council. Watched it with Daniel, who had just returned. He was exhausted, haunted, but alive. We gave 3 warnings, Lisa said. Her voice was tired. We asked nicely. We waited. We hoped they would choose peace. They chose war. This is the result. Let it be a lesson to anyone else who thinks humanity bluffs. We do not bluff. We do not threaten. We warn once, twice, 3 times. After that, we act. We hope we never have to do this again. Daniel turned off the news. He sat on the couch beside and pulled her close. Are you okay? She asked. I will be, eventually. War never gets easier, never feels right, even when it is necessary. You ended slavery, freed millions. That has to mean something. It does, but I keep thinking about the soldiers. Most of them were just following orders, just doing what their government told them, and now they are dead or defeated. Their families are suffering. Their world is in chaos. You gave them 3 chances. I know, but it still hurts. Held him while he shook. This was the cost humans paid for being the galaxy's reluctant enforcers. They won every fight, but winning did not mean they were happy about it. 2 years after the treaty, stood in her garden. Her plants had grown strong in earth soil. They bloomed with purple flowers that smelled like home. Beside them, earth roses grew red and white. She heard footsteps, turned to see Daniel walking toward her. He was smiling, a real smile, not forced, not tired, happy. I have news, he said. Good news, I hope. We could use some. The Council has asked humanity to help mediate border disputes, not with force, with diplomacy. They want us to teach other species our approach. The 3 warnings. More than that, the idea of trying everything before fighting, of seeing war as failure, not glory, of building instead of conquering. Thought about that. The galaxy is changing. Slowly, but yes, species are watching, learning, realizing that there are better ways than endless war. She took his hand. We did that, you and me. Our marriage was supposed to be political, a treaty in living form, but it became more. It became real. Yes, and it showed others that different species can live together, learn from each other, build something new. Daniel pulled her close, kissed her forehead. I love you, not because the treaty says I should, not because it makes good politics, because you are smart and kind and brave, because you left everything you knew to stop a war, because you chose to stay even when you could leave. I love you too, because you are gentle when you could be hard, because you fight only when you must, because you cry for your enemies, because you are everything humanity should be. They stood together in the garden, 2 people from 2 worlds, building a future together. That night recorded a message. She had been asked to speak at the Galactic University about human relations. I came to Earth expecting monsters, she said to the camera. I had read the reports, heard the stories, knew that humans were dangerous. I thought I would spend my life as a hostage, a symbol of my father's defeat. I was wrong about everything. Humans are dangerous, but not because they love violence. They are dangerous because they understand it, because they have fought each other for thousands of years and learned every lesson war can teach. They know the cost. They know the pain. They know that every battle leaves scars that never fully heal. That is why they avoid war. Why they warn 3 times, why they try so hard to find other solutions, because they know what happens when talking stops, and they hate it. The most dangerous warrior is not the one who loves fighting. It is the one who hates fighting but knows how to do it perfectly. That is humanity. They are deadly not from practice but from study, not from aggression but from preparation, not from hatred but from understanding. My father started a war because he did not understand this. He thought human patience was weakness. Human diplomacy was fear. Human warnings were bluffs. He learned, as the learned, that humans mean every word they say. But here is what most species miss. Humans do not want to be feared. They want to be friends. They want to build and grow and explore. They only fight when they must, and they hate every second of it. I married a human to stop a war. I stayed because I discovered that humanity's greatest weapon was never their ships or soldiers or tactics. It was their choice. The choice to use violence only when all other options were exhausted. The choice to protect instead of conquer. The choice to build bridges instead of walls. That choice, that restraint, that patience is what makes them truly dangerous. Because when you finally push them too far, when you ignore their 3 warnings, when you force them to abandon restraint, they become unstoppable. But they will give you those 3 chances. They will always give you 3 chances. That is humanity. That is the species I married into, and that is why no empire dares challenge them. Turned off the recording. Outside, the ocean waves rolled in, patient, persistent, endless. She thought about everything she had learned, about Daniel and his parents, about the memorial walls, about thee and the, about species that chose war and species that chose peace. And she thought about the galaxy slowly learning what she had learned, that the greatest strength was not the ability to destroy, it was the ability to choose not to destroy. She walked to the bedroom where Daniel was already asleep. She lay beside him, this man who could be soft and hard, gentle and deadly, kind and ruthless. This human who had volunteered to marry a stranger to save lives, who held her when she was scared, who cried for his enemies, who fought when he had to and hated every moment of it. This was humanity. This was the species that terrified the galaxy, not because of what they did, but because of what they chose not to do. Until they had no choice left. And then the galaxy learned why no empire dared challenge them, not from fear alone, but from understanding that when humans finally fought, they fought with the weight of all the times they had chosen peace, all the warnings they had given, all the chances they had offered. They fought with the sorrow of knowing they had tried everything else first. And that made them more terrifying than any species that simply loved war. Because humanity remembered, and the galaxy would never forget.